The emergence of the new COVID variant Omicron has not only raised alarms all across the globe, but its unpredictability around has led to a chaotic turn of events. The variant of concern, as designated by the World Health Organization, was first detected in South Africa. So far, we know that the variant is highly mutated that may affect transmissibility, severity of the disease. We still don't know how it responds to the antibodies triggered by the vaccines. To understand more about the new variant, Omicron, we have with us Dr. Samiran Panda, Head of Epidemiology and Communicable Diseases Division at the Indian Council of Medical Research. Start by asking you how much do we know about the variant as of now, sir?
Well, this particular variant, Omicron, which is a mutated form of SARS-CoV-2 virus, that's a new finding. And the first case or identification happened in South Africa. So in November, on the 9th day of November, it was recognized first. And then on the 24th of November and 26th of November, WHO became aware of it, and it was announced as the variant of concern. So it's a newly identified phenomenon. We know about the genetic structure, the changes that has happened compared to the earlier circulating other variants or mutants. For example, Delta, everybody is aware of, and Delta sort of consumed India in a very intense way, and the spread was quite extensive, not only within India, but also across the globe. So it's a new variant, and we do know that while the viruses proliferate, be it an RNA virus or a DNA virus, they do change. A little bit of changes which happens during that proliferation. And if the virus is not capable of correcting those changes or the errors, then these smaller changes are called drifts. The bigger changes, when the change could even be loss of a great segment of gene, those are called shifts. And there are immunological pressures, because while the viruses do proliferate in our body, there is immune pressure. And so all these together bring in changes. So the mutation is something which is expected to happen during the proliferation of the viruses. And so this particular variant or mutant is the outcome or the result of similar or such phenomena. Now, as it is new, of course, genetic sequencing has been able to identify the number of changes that has happened. So everybody is aware now globally. I'm talking about in common man's language, or in common parlance, there are multiple mutations ranging from 30 to 50 mutations happening, and that many of them are in the spike protein region or the receptor binding domain, which goes and gets attached to the cellular receptor, and then there is an entry of the virus in the cell and the proliferation. So we know that this is one of the mutants of SARS-CoV-2 infection, very newly identified. There are multiple mutations in the genome sequence that has been observed, and it has also been observed in South Africa that the speed of spread is quite rapid, so it's highly transmissible virus. However, what is not known now is how severe a clinical disease it could cause. So as of now, the initial reports say that most of the infections that have been recorded, or the infections that have been seen, observed clinically, they are mild cases, but we do not know whether this variant would be able to escape the immunity that is given to us post-infection or post-vaccination. That needs to be studied over a period of time. There has also been a concern whether this variant can be detected by the test systems that we employ now as a routine diagnostic kit in India. But there is assurance, like the RT-PCR test or the rapid antigen test that are employed for detecting SARS-CoV-2 infection. They are not going to be ineffective at all. So we are capable of detecting someone who is infected, if there is one in India. As yet, there has not been any report of any individual who is infected with Omicron. But the point I'm trying to make is that the currently deployed test system within India is quite capable of identifying individuals, if there is any, who is infected with Omicron variant of SARS-CoV-2.
Sir, coming to vaccines, we have two vaccines, major vaccines, which is Covaxin and Covishield. Though we still don't know how efficacious both these vaccines are, but given the data, what do you think? What does it mean for the existing vaccines as far as India is concerned? Do you think Covaxin will be more efficacious, or do you think Covishield will work better against Omicron if at all it comes? Because we already know that Moderna has said that it's not as efficacious in fighting this particular variant. So, what do you have to say about Covaxin and Covishield?
First of all, I would say that these two vaccines, Covaxin and Covishield, they are given or administered as intramuscular injection. The 2 doses of them need to be administered to an individual before we call that individual to be fully vaccinated. And irrespective of them being effective or having impact against or useful against the new variant, I would say that this is high time we get our vaccination started, number one. Number two, anything that we say will be a conjecture based on the structural changes that we have identified in the viral genome. And then one could try see that, well, if a particular vaccine is directed towards the spike protein or the receptor binding domain of the virus, and we now know that there are a whole lot of mutations at the spike protein region or the receptor binding domain of the virus. So maybe those viruses which are very specifically directed against, the vaccines, which are specifically directed against that part of the virus, then the vaccine might turn out to be ineffective. From that perspective, Covaxin is the whole virion killed vaccine platform. So Covaxin and Covishield are different platforms, first of all. And Covaxin is the whole virion killed vaccine, virus vaccine platform. So one could always, this is a hypothetical question because nobody knows how things would unfold in real life setting. But scientifically speaking, one could always have some hope, rested. But I would not even do panic because there is no Omicron in India. And even if it comes in, maybe before that, we will be having, enough vaccinated people. When I say vaccinated people, 2 doses of the vaccination. And then if it is a mild form of infection, one could even, try see how to handle this unfolding of the spread of the new variant in our community. So I would highlight that, yes, it's a hypothetical question, but scientific, conjecture would say that Covaxin might be much more effective. Covishield, well, it is directed towards a particular, part of the virus, and then the adenovirus serves as a vector. So it is anybody's guess, but scientific discourses could always happen. But I would say all these discourses should not take our attention diverted from the public health goal or priority, which is vaccination and which is COVID appropriate behavior to be maintained in public.
Thank you so much, Dr. Panda, for clearing our doubts. I think the message is loud and clear that we have to follow COVID appropriate behavior and also get vaccinated as soon as we can. That's all from us. Keep watching this space.